Hello, our esteemed viewers. Good day and welcome to Medicine Focus. As always, Medicine Focus is a channel that looks into the different classes of medications that are being used in the management of different pathological conditions, in which we are bringing it down. We are breaking it down. We are taking you through these medications, their mechanism of actions, their examples, their possible side effects of different pathological conditions. So today medicine focus looks into Parkinson's disease, brain disorder. That which we are going to look at the Parkinson's disease itself, concerns associated with it, and the main thing, pathophysiology and the medication. And under the medication, as you all know, we look at the different classes, some example of agents under the classes, the mechanism of action, and some possible side effects. So without much waste of our time, let's quickly look into it. So Parkinson's disease, it is the most common neurodegenerative disease after Alzheimer's disease. Parkinson's disease was discovered, or I would rather say was fully documented by James Parkinson in the year 1817. That's why it has been termed Parkinson's disease. So Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative brain disorder that progresses slowly in most people. Most people's syndrome takes years to develop, and they live for years with their disease. In short, what happens in Parkinson's disease is that a person's brain slowly stops producing a neurotransmitter known as dopamine, and with less dopamine, the person has less ability to regulate his body movement. Simple as it is. So there are signs or symptoms associated with this Parkinson's disease, under which there is the primary and the secondary symptoms. So the primary ones are tremor, stiffness, slowness, impaired balance, and for the secondary symptoms, as anxiety, depression, dementia are secondary symptoms and primary symptoms of Parkinson's disease. And some factors that will expose you to this particular disease condition are the age. As you age older, you become more prone to this condition. Sex. Parkinson's disease is more common in men than women due to some factors, either being exposed to toxins or head trauma. And discovery have been able to find out that even uterus itself have some neuroprotective effects. So there is also low levels of vitamin B. There is family history, head trauma are all factors that will expose you to Parkinson's disease. So let's look at pathophysiology now. Why pathophysiology? Is because the more we know pathophysiology, we know how it comes about, the problem there, definitely you will know what medications are gonna do. And at medicine focus, we focus on medication, we deal with medication. So that's why we always like bringing in pathophysiology, because pathophysiology works in hand with medication. So now let's look at the pathophysiology. A substance called dopamine conveys message between the substantia nigra and the corpus striatum by producing smooth and controlled movement. Come to think of it, there are some terms that we are going to be using while going through this pathophysiology, and I would like to clarify them in the first place before we look into it. So you can take that as definition of some key terms. We have dopamine. Dopamine coordinates smooth movement and controlled movement. We have substantia nigra. Substantia nigra is part of the brain that helps control your movement. We have corpus striatum. Corpus striatum is involved in decision-making functions such as motor control, emotional balance and habit formation, and also reward. We have alpha-synuclein. Alpha-synuclein is involved in control of neurotransmitters, meaning the release of neurotransmitters. And the reason why I define this is because we are gonna be using them as we go through this pathophysiology, and I know it will sound somehow weird. That's why I think it is very important that I bring it down, that I bring it out to our understanding. So like I said earlier, a substance called dopamine conveys message between the substantia nigra and corpus striatum by producing smooth and controlled movements. Movement, which is smooth movement. Related symptoms of Parkinson's disease is caused by loss of this dopamine, and the etiology or cause is found to be due to multiple factors. But two factors stood out as the environmental and genetic factors, even though factors such as drugs, particularly L-dopa, levodopa to be specific, is also been found to be involved. So the characteristic pathological features of Parkinson's disease is neuronal loss in the pigmented brainstem nuclei, together with the presence of eosinophilic inclusion bodies called Lewy bodies in surviving cells, which as a result, the part compactor of the substantia nigra in the midbrain is particularly affected, thereby interfering with the production of dopamine. So dopaminergic neurons within the nucleus project to the striatum, which is therefore deprived of the neurotransmitter dopamine. During this period, there is loss of over 80 to 90% of nuclear neurons before symptoms even begin to appear. So alpha-synuclein, which is a protein contained in Lewy bodies, accumulates in the lower brainstem, then gradually ascend rostally to affect critical brain regions, which include the substantia nigra and ultimately the cerebral cortex. During the course of this disease, dopaminergic neurons are not the only cells to be affected within the brainstem. Some associated neurotransmitters and preta of the nucleus are also affected, such as cholinergic neurons, which also degenerate, meaning the cholinergic neurons also degenerate, which is correlate within the striatum, which correlates with postural instability, dysphagia, meaning difficulty in swallowing, sleep disturbances, REM sleep. That's why dopaminergic treatment is impaired or ineffective in treating this particular clinical problem. Why? Because within the striatum, changes occur within the gamma aminobutyric acid, which is the GABA, containing neurons, as a consequence of nigrostriatal dopaminergic deficiency, and also non-physiological dopaminergic replacement. And these changes are thought to play a vital role in mediating dyskinesia, which develop after years of levodopa treatment, and also depression due to late loss of serotonic neurons. So this is how this Parkinson's disease come about. So now let's move to the main thing, which is the treatment or pharmacological approaches. Now, how do we manage this Parkinson's disease with medications? Look at the medications now. Parkinson's disease medications or anti-Parkinsonism drugs are categorized as follows. So the aims of anti-Parkinsonism or Parkinson's disease medications are categorized into three. The first one, which is agents that work directly or indirectly to increase the level of dopamine in the brain by crossing the blood-brain barrier and changed or gets converted to dopamine or mimic the action of dopamine. Another category is agents that affect other neurotransmitters in the body in order to ease symptoms, such as anticholinergics, which prevent uptake of acetylcholine. And the last category, but not the least, are agents that help control movement or non-motor symptoms, which is agents that help control motor symptoms, meaning those that don't affect movement. So, first one, we have dopamine agonists. Dopamine agonists are agents that stimulate dopamine receptors in the brain. They are classified into ego-based dopamine agonists and non-ego-based dopamine agonists. Ego-based dopamine agonists, examples are the bromocriptine, cabergoline. As a possible side effects associated with it are nausea and vomiting, postural hypertension, confusion, hallucination. And their ego derivatives, particularly fibrosis pleuropulmonary. And examples of the non-ego-based dopamine agonists are amantadine, apomorphine, pramipexole, ropinirole, rotigotine, and many others. Secondly, are the L-DOPA or levodopa preparations. They are administered along with levodopa. They are peripheral dopa carboxylate inhibitors, known as O-caril-dopa. They work by blocking or inhibiting the peripheral conversion of levodopa dopamine, thereby allowing lower dose of levodopa to be administered. Levodopa readily crosses already the pathophysiology, as we know, it already crosses the blood-brain barrier and gets converted by endogenous aromatic amines or endogenous aromatic amino acids to dopamine, and they're stored in surviving nigrostriatal nerve terminals. Another class, or the third one, is the catechol O methyl transferase inhibitors, COMT. So catechol O methyl transferase inhibitors itself is a ubiquitous enzyme found in the gut, meaning catechol O methyl transferase enzyme on its own is an enzyme being found in the gut, liver, kidney, brain, and many other sites. So it can be found in different parts of the body. So catechol O methyl transferase inhibition may occur both centrally, where the degeneration of dopamine to hemorrhagic acid is inhibited, and peripherally, where conversion of levodopa to the innate 3-O methyl dopa is inhibited. Catechol O methyl transferase is a major degeneration pathway of levodopa. So inhibition of catechol O methyl transferase leads to more sustained plasma levels of levodopa and enhanced control dopaminergic activity. Examples are the entacapone, tolapone, and many others. And some possible side effects are diarrhea, abdominal pain, mouth dryness, e.t.c. Another class is the monoamine oxidase type B inhibitors, that is MAO-B inhibitors, monoamine oxidase inhibitors. These agents work by inhibiting monoamine oxidase enzyme, thereby blocking the breakdown of dopamine in the striatum. These agents effectively have a levodopa sparing effect. Examples are selugilin, asorgilin, and many other examples. So I don't have much examples under it, but there are many examples, and some possible side effects are confusion, hallucinations, and many others. Another one is the amantadine. Amantadine mode of action includes facilitation of presynaptic dopamine release blocking dopamine reuptake, anticholinergic effect. Amantadine itself is an agent, and some possible side effects associated with it is edema, tacit confusional state, and finally anticholinergics. Anticholinergics are agents that restore the balance between dopamine and acetylcholine. Benzotropine, trihexyphenidyl are some of the examples of these anticholinergics. So, this is where we draw the curtains today on this Parkinson's disease. So, if you do enjoy our video, just drop your comment, like, and don't forget to subscribe to Medicine Focus so that you can get more content from us. Have a nice day.